Hare Krishna everyone, Danvat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Happy Radhashtami to everybody, all assembled devotees. Let's chant Mangalacharan, everybody. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापत्कमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं सतं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते सप्तकाञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद जय श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनातारणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्य ईश्वरं गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Very bold. Thank you everybody for joining. So please feel free to stop me anytime, ask questions, share your realizations, share any stories that come to mind, pastimes of Radharani and Krishna and Gopis, anything that comes to mind, any verses that you want to share, any thing from lectures and various songs that you have heard. Please feel free to share at any time. So we'll get started. So the first point, I told you there are 5 things that I'm going to discuss, and hopefully we can cover this all today. Try to go fast. So the first is about Radha Tattva. So basically, we're talking about who is Radha Rani. We are always praying to Radha Krishna in all our temples. There are deities of Radha Govinda, Radha Gopinath, right? Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Girivardhari. So who is this Radha Rani that is standing next to Krishna in all those temples and in all these pictures and is glorified in all the songs by the great Paramhamsas, great sages, great yogis also. So what is the understanding here? Isn't she? She's not even Krishna's wife. She's not. She's just an ordinary cowherd girl, right? Why are we asking her for mercy and benedictions? There are so many cowherd girls. If you go to any village in India, what is so special about Radharani? What is her story? Where did she come from? Why is she so glorified? So I want to hear from everybody, or at least 2 or 3 people. What is your understanding about who is Radharani? Let's hear from at least a couple people by raise of hand. Who wants to share your understanding of Radharani? Based on our classes, based on your previous understanding, anything.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Hema Mataji. Thank you. Please share.
Danvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So my understanding from the classes is that, which I just understood from the classes, is that Radharani is the superior energy of Sri Krishna.
Yes, yes, perfect.
That is the new thing that I understood from the classes.
Yes.
Otherwise, I used to think she's just, like she's obviously very, very dear and most dear to Sri Krishna, his most, loving companion, as well as the one person that Sri Krishna is like bound to is Radharani.
Okay. Yes, Mataji, your previous understanding and new understanding, everything is correct. Very bold. Okay, yes. Avni and Sheetal Mataji and then Anita Mataji want to share?
Hare Krishna Mataji, my understanding is that she is the highest devotee amongst
Yes.
the devotees.
She's the highest, the best devotee of Krishna. Perfect. Okay. Let's hear from Anita Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna. So I understand she is the soul of Krishna, and she is the internal potency as we have known. But I also learned that she is the soul and also controller of Krishna. Krishna controls everything, but Radharani controls Krishna.
Okay, yes. So she's basically, you're saying she controls even Krishna, who is the supreme controller, who is Sarveshwar Ishwara, who is Maheshwar. She's her Ishwari, his Ishwari also, huh? Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Everybody shared very nicely. So Hare Krishna, Neelveni Mataji, thank you for joining. This is uh, Katha on Radhashtami. So we're just talking about who is Radharani, what is Radha Tattva. Hare Krishna. So, okay, now I will share some points and let's see if the understanding gets better. Please hear very carefully. This is something that I've tried to understand by hearing multiple lectures. You're all correct, but let's go deeper into the understanding, okay? So we all know that all of us at all times are trying to seek happiness and enjoyment through everything we do, right? Whether we are eating something, hearing something, whether we are writing something, whether we are watching something, whether we are going somewhere, everywhere we are trying to just seek basically enjoyment and pleasure, happiness in this world, right? That is our nature. Even according to Vedanta Sutras, it is said that the jiva is anandamayo bhyasat. He's always seeking for anand or pleasure. And we know, we've always talked about that Krishna is Satchidanand. He's the absolute ocean of bliss, right? He's the reservoir of all bliss. He's full of all bliss. So if we are seeking pleasure, if we are seeking Anand, then Krishna is the source of all that pleasure, right? He's Atmaram. He contains everything within himself. He does not need anything. He does not need anybody, right? So, so if we are always seeking pleasure through various things, we are watching TV, we are reading a book, a fiction book, right? People say, what are you doing? People say we are killing time. We are trying to kill time. We are reading this book, just watching this game, watching this TV, this movie, I'm killing time. But nobody understands that actually we are not killing time. Time is killing us, right? Krishna says, time I am, Kalo Asmi, right? So he's killing us actually. But so those are fake pleasures of this world. Those are short-term happinesses that bring us ultimately miseries, right? It's like we are putting our money in the wrong account. We should be putting our money in the account that we are going to take with us. Rather, we are putting our money in an account which will be taken away from us. So, what is the point of storing money in there, right? Let's put money in the account that we will save, we will take with us forever. So the real pleasure would be the one that we would get from Krishna, right? Because that is the bliss that we can enjoy forever, for all eternity, right? So now imagine Krishna is Bhagwan, full of all pleasure. If he separated that pleasure, that enjoyment from himself, the love that he possesses, if he separated that and that pleasure, that love, that Krishna Prem became a person, that person is Radharani. So Radharani is basically, she's the personification of all pleasure that Krishna has. She's personification, she's the manifestation of all love that Krishna have. Right? We are always as devotees, we are saying our goal is, our highest goal is Krishna Prem, right? What is our goal? Is our goal mukti or bhukti or austerities or next another life of enjoyment? What is our goal? What do we say? Every morning we say that we should not commit these offenses because they are a hindrance to achieving what? To the supreme goal of achieving Krishna Prem, right? So Krishna Prem is our highest goal. Now let's say Krishna separated that Prem from himself, the love, the bliss from himself, and that love and bliss stands in front of us as a person. That person is Radharani. So Radharani is full of all love for Krishna. The drop of love that we are trying to experience in this material world by doing various activities, right? Let's say we do deity worship, or we read, or we are hearing this katha, or we are reading Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. We feel bliss inside us. When we are chanting the names, we feel connected to Krishna. We feel some pleasure inside us. That drop of bliss that we feel is coming from the ocean of Krishna Prema, that is Radharani. So Radharani is full of all the love and all the pleasure that Krishna can offer us. So actually Krishna cannot offer that to us because he wants to enjoy this love and bliss himself. He wants to see what that love tastes like. What does Krishna Prema feels like? What does that bliss, enjoyment feels like? So to enjoy he has separated this pleasure potency from himself, and that person is Radharani. So Krishna is also enjoying with Radharani and trying to relish the nectar that devotees relish. He's also trying to relish that bliss that devotees experience. So that pleasure potency, that supreme reservoir of bliss is Radharani. So you understand? So the Radharani is not just like an ordinary cowherd girl. She's not just an ordinary gopi. She's not just some mundane relationships that we have in this world that are so temporary, that are related to bodily attractions and attachments. This is not that relationship. The relationship of Radha and Krishna is not like a ordinary boyfriend and girlfriend, okay, that we experience in this world, because that is the mundane understanding, right? If before coming to Krishna consciousness, before reading Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, we always think that, oh, Krishna had a girlfriend, oh, he could not marry her, and he went on to Mathura and married and had some other wives there. So she was just crying here in separation from him. But actually, Radharani is the whole absolute truth. Absolute truth is only one, right? There cannot be two absolute truths. Absolute truth is only one. Supreme Personality of Godhead is only one, right? But when that absolute truth splits himself, as separates, expands into two for the purpose of this sweet, ecstatic, loving exchanges, that too is called Radha Govinda. So the Govinda or Krishna is not the whole absolute truth. Radha Govinda is the whole absolute truth. Radha Damodar, Radha Shyam Sundar, Radha Madhav, Radha Gopinath, right? That is why Prabhupada said that they'll be both together. Because you cannot you cannot have any pleasure in Krishna consciousness without Radharani. We are always seeking pleasure. We need pleasure even in spiritual activities, we need the bliss. And we are experiencing higher taste. We always say, right, higher taste in eating prasad, higher taste in reading scriptures, higher taste in chanting the holy names, higher taste in hearing Hari Katha. Where is that taste, that nectar coming from? That nectar is coming from Radharani. Imagine, for example, all of you like rasgulla, right? We always have to have rasgulla in our class, right? Rasgulla. Now the gulla is full of ras. You all agree, right? Imagine that ras is dripping, right? It drips into the hand of a person. That person goes and shakes your hand. It comes into your hand, right? You go and shake somebody else's hand. That rasa will go into that person's hand, right? But who is the reservoir of that rasa? The gulla, the original gulla from which the rasa was dripping. Radha Rani is that original gulla from which that rasa is dripping down and it passes down through our Guru Parampara so that it's handed over down to us through Brahmaji to Narad Muni, and all of them are tasting some more nectar, some nectar, and then they are passing that nectar. Oh, taste this nectar, right? So that reservoir of all nectar that we enjoy in this, not only in the spiritual world, even in the material world, the pleasure that we enjoy. For example, I get some pleasure in taking care of my daughter. I get some pleasure in taking care of my husband. I get some pleasure in taking. I'm a very strong patriot, and I get pleasure in taking care of my country. I'm a very big philanthropist or a humanitarian person, and I get pleasure in taking care of my community and my and the human society in general, right? That pleasure that one experiences, that also comes from Radharani, right? So she's the source of all pleasure that we experience. And like all of you said, she is trying to give us that nectar so we will have hankering to connect to Krishna. Right? She's taking us close to Krishna. That is why she's Yog Maya. Yog means to connect to Krishna. Right? So the energy of Krishna that connects us to Krishna is the Yog Maya. Right? She's the Yog Maya. She's the superior potency of the Lord. She is the superior energy of the Lord. She takes us towards Krishna. Okay. So, and she cannot, people will say, oh, like I was just telling you before, right? Oh, poor girl, she was left alone in Vrindavan while Krishna went off to marry 16,108 queens in Dwarka. Who are those 16,108 queens? They are nothing but expansions of Radharani. Oh, Radha kaise na jale, because Krishna is having fun with gopis. Who are those millions of gopis? They are nothing but expansions of Radharani. Who are the Asht Sakhis? Who are the Manjaris? They are nothing but the expansions of Radharani. Who is Kali Mata? Who's Parvati? Who's Durga Devi? Who are all the unlimited goddesses of fortune? Lakshmi Devi serving all the Narayans and all the millions of Vaikunthas in the spiritual sky. All Lakshmi Devis are expansions of Radharani. So the original Radharani, the original whole absolute truth, expands in so many ways to give us the pleasure. Right? She comes, she comes when Lord comes as Ram, she comes as Mother Sita, right? She is Gauri of Gauri Shankar, right? She is Vishnu Priya when he comes as Gauranga, right? So Radharani is all of those things. She's giving us pleasure in unlimited ways, and she's also Mahamaya. She's also expanding as Mahamaya. So the jivas that still need reformation, they're staying here, right? That is also energy of Radharani itself, Radharani herself, right? So this is the understanding of Radha Tattva. This is she is that potency of Krishna, the internal potency who's non-different from Krishna, who is same as Krishna. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, I'll mention some verses. If you have noticed, all of you that have been reading Srimad Bhagavatam, let me ask you, how many times is Radharani mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam? How many times is Radharani mentioned in Bhagavad Gita? Okay. So what Krishna did not give us, right? What Shukdev Goswami, why did Shukdev Goswami, who's Shukdev Goswami, who's narrating the entire Bhagavatam? How come he did not mention Radharani? Who is Shukdev Goswami? He's a great saint, right? He's a very, very elevated soul. Yes, Navya.
So Dev Goswami didn't mention me because he would go into ecstasy. He mentioned the name, and Parikshit Maharaj didn't have enough time to see the Dev Goswami go into ecstasy and wait a long time.
Yes, Hari Bol. Thank you, Navya. And Nirbhay Prabhu, yes, please share.
Hare Krishna. Sukdev Goswami is also the parrot of Radharani.
Shukdev Goswami is the Shuka, the parrot of Radharani, in the eternal Nitya Siddha Leela, in his Swarup Siddh, in his original eternal body in Golok Vrindavan. He's none other than a parrot of Radharani. Radharani has so many parrots, right? He's one of the parrots of Radharani. That parrot, when is born as the son of Vyasadev, is Shukdev Goswami. He was liberated. He's forever liberated. He's a Nitya Siddh devotee, right? He's so enamored by Radharani, he's so devoted to Radharani that in those 7 days he had to narrate Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. He could not take the risk of saying names of Radharani. Yet he included her name one time. I'll share the verse in Srimad Bhagavatam in 10th canto where he could not avoid Radharani. So how sneakily he put her name in, you will see. I'll show you. He glorifies that one gopi. He keeps saying that one gopi that took Krishna away. So we'll see that verse in a few. But yes, so however much Shukdev Goswami tried to avoid Radharani in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami put Radharani in hefty amounts in amazing, wonderful way in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is full of glories of Radharani. So couple of verses that describe Radharani's tattva is it says Radha Krishna ek atma dui dehadhari Anyona vilase rasa asvadan kari. That means Radha Krishna are ek atma, just like Mataji was saying, they're the soul, they're the same person. They are ek atma, dui dehadhari, but for the pleasure of the devotees and for each other, for Krishna to get more pleasure, for Krishna to enjoy loving pastimes, there are two bodies expanded from Krishna. One is Radha, one is Krishna. Anyone vilase rasa aswadan kari. And then they enjoy so many pastimes, right? The pastime of Shringar Leela or Madhurya Leela when they get separated, the Vipralambha, which is the mood of separation, is so high. You know, one of the highest bhav in Vrindavan is the mood of separation. Vipralambha is enjoyed, right? She takes care of Krishna. She becomes his servant when needed. So all those loving exchanges enjoyed by Radharani, and then she expands as all the Sakhis and gopis who serve Krishna. So she cannot be separated from Krishna. Radha Purna Shakti, Krishna Purna Shaktiman. Dui Vastu Bhed Nahi Shastrera Praman. That Radha is Purna Shakti and Krishna is Purna Shaktiman. You cannot separate the two. Can you ever separate heat from the fire? Can you ever separate the sweetness from sugar? Right? We cannot separate, because it will not be sugar if we separated sweetness from sugar. It will not be fire if it is not hot, right? So just like that, energy and energetic are always together. Radha and Krishna are always together. They're one whole absolute truth who expand into two for these sweet loving exchanges. And in this way, Radharani is able to serve in limitless, dynamic, variety of variegated ways, by various expressions, by various personalities. She expands so many personalities, and then she gives him more and more pleasure in different bhavs throughout, right? In Aishwarya Bhav, as goddesses of fortune, all the Lakshmi Devis, they serve as goddess of fortune in Aishwarya Bhav, right? The queens of Dwarka in both Aishwarya Bhav and Madhurya Bhav, gopis in Madhurya Bhav, right? Jivas, we are serving, she gives us the pleasure potency when we do the sadhana. The pleasure we feel is coming from Radharani, and we serve in Shant or Dasya Bhav, right? So that is all coming from Radharani. She is expanding as Yog Maya and facilitating Krishna's pastimes, right? She's facilitating his exchanges with devotees, right? She's increasing the rasa of all these pastimes that he performs. So the reason that devotee forgets, like Yashoda Maya forgets that Krishna is Lord, that forgetfulness Radharani gives, so that they can properly exchange a pastime. So they're not treating him as Lord, because we don't want Yashoda Maya to treat Krishna as Lord. We want her to chastise him. We want her to run after him and tie him. How does Yashoda Maya forget that Krishna is Lord? How can she not know that him and Narayan are same? She worships Narayan, but she does not worship Krishna. She's chastising him. Same with Nand Maharaj, same with Gopas. They are pushing him down and playing with him. How do they do that? Because Radharani makes them forget that Krishna is Lord, right? So they can serve him in such amazing way that Krishna relishes so much, right? So she brings devotees closer to Krishna in such an amazing, wonderful way. So this, and then this is another verse from Chaitanya Charitamrit, which is very beautiful. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Aladini Shaktirasmat Ekatmanavapi Bhuvi Pura Deha Bhedam Gatau Tau Chaitanyakhyam Prakatam Madhuna Tadvayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhavadyuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. This last line is very, very widely quoted. If you hear any lectures about Radharani, this verse is quoted by almost all devotees. Radha Bhav Dyuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. The loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, they separated themselves eternally. Now these two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. So then when they unite again to come as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that is our beloved Gauranga, who gives us the love of Radharani, right? So Krishna could not give it. It's just too much. He had to establish basic philosophical instructions in form of Bhagavad Gita. Shukdev Goswami, even though he's parrot of Radharani, he cannot give all the love of Radharani because again Bhagavad Gita needs to be expanded upon. That's why we say Bhagavad Gita is the basic. It is a prelim study of the Vedantas, right? Then comes the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a more advanced study, right? Which is like a graduation. And then comes Chaitanya Charitamrit. Why is it a post-graduation level study? Because that is full of the prema of Radharani. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu let everything loose. He opened the floodgates of the love of Radharani. What Krishna could not give us, what Shukdev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj could not establish, right? Who established? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? He comes again when we have understood the basic instructions of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. When we have gone through the basic regulative motions of chanting and purifying ourselves and eating prasadam, not killing animals and not taking pleasure in this material world. When we have purified ourselves, then we can understand this prema of Radharani. So then Gauranga comes and gives us this, opens the floodgates of Radharani's ocean of bliss and love. So that is the Radha Tattva. Please share and ask any questions, any comments, realizations. Yes, who would like to share? Nirbhay Prabhu, are you sharing something?
Hare Krishna. No, it's my hand up. Oh, sorry, it was there from before.
The bodily conception is so strong in this world, right? I was reading on somebody's post the other day that said, "Oh, Lord is after all a male or something like that," huh? So what is it? Lord is male or female? There is this debate going on. People are saying, "Oh no, Lord is female. You don't see that all the goddesses are females." But then somebody say, "Oh, but you say this is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's male." So what is Lord, male or female? This is the fight goes between the feminist and the other people, that whether Lord is male or female. That is such a mundane concept, right? It is a completely bodily concept. Lord is Satchidanand. He does not have a body to be male or female, right? So Lord is one absolute truth. We become male or female. We have to get a body, and that too keeps changing. One birth you are male, the other birth you are female. But Lord is not, he's transcendental. He does not have a body like us. He has a spiritual body, right? So Bhagwan, absolute truth, is one whole thing, who has no adi and no ant, right? Who is beginningless and endless, right? Who is infinite, who has infinite opulences. How can you categorize him into male or female or this or that, right? So just for the purpose of our understanding of our loving exchanges, Krishna, or we can always say energy and energetic, right? So when we separate the energetic is always referred to as a Purusha, or you can say male in loose terms, and energy is always referred to as the Shakti or the Prakriti or the feminine counterpart, right? So when those both combine, that is one whole absolute truth. That is Radha Krishna. Okay, so it is not that ordinary bodily conception, the fight that goes on between men and women. This is not like that. This is not about male or female enjoying each other like they enjoy in this world. It is not that ordinary. It is on a completely different transcendental platform. It is a concept of energy and energetic. Like if I'm lifting something with my arms, my muscle has the energy. If I separate, can I separate the energy from my muscle? If I separated it, would my muscle work? Muscle is nothing without the energy it has. It cannot lift anything if I don't have energy in it, right? So similarly, Krishna is nothing without Radharani, and Radharani is nothing without Krishna. They both complete each other. They are one whole absolute truth. So that is the understanding. And the reason we approach Shakti or Radharani, the energy, more is because she gives us the bliss, the pleasure, the prem. And by that, we can please Krishna himself. Right, because Krishna is also hankering to understand this prem that devotees feel. So by getting a little bit of that love that Radharani possesses, we can also please Krishna. So that is the tattva of Radharani. Now let's go to the next part. Unless anybody wants to share anything, we'll go to a story and launch into the next topic of Radha Bhav. So this is, I'll go through the story quick because we don't have too much time. So this story that I'm going to narrate, this is a historical account. This comes from Sripad Sanatan Goswami's book, Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So you know that Sanatan Goswami is one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, disciple of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Who is a combined manifestation of Radha and Krishna, Gauranga. So his disciple Sanatan Goswami wrote this book, Brihad Bhagavatamrita. There are 2 stories in that book. Okay, we have never discussed these 2 stories, and I'll take one story today. Some other time we'll take the second story. Okay, this story starts with in Prayag. In Prayag, there were a lot of saints and sages and devotees assembled. A lot of great advanced souls were assembled, and there was this debate going on that who is the pure or the highest devotee of the Lord. And Narad Muni took up this task that I will go and find the highest devotee of the Lord. Let me go everywhere and see who is the highest devotee. So he set out on this search. He came across a Brahman, a poor Brahman who had one Shaligram Shila, and he was worshipping that Shaligram Shila with great care and affection, and with whatever he possessed, he was giving it to the Shaligram Shila. He will not start his day without worshipping. He will offer everything to Shaligram Shila and then honor the prasadam, not eat anything that is not offered first. Like that, he was always conducting himself. So Narad Muni thought this must be the best devotee of the Lord. Look at how akinchan he is. He has no family, no money, no resources, nothing, and he's still very diligently, meticulously worshipping this Shaligram Shila. So he went and paid obeisances to the Brahman and said, "Oh Brahman, you appear to be the best devotee of the Lord. Is that true? Is that correct understanding?" Brahman said, "Narad Muni, what are you saying? Are you making fun of me? I have just this one Shaligram Shila that I cannot take care of properly. I use impure products to offer to the Shila. I am struggling so hard, But I will tell you who is a better devotee. Go to that person. In my opinion, that person is a much higher, better devotee than me. There is this king in South India. This king worships 108 Shaligram Shilas. And, I am a Brahman. This is my job to worship. That's why I'm worshipping, But king, he's very busy. He's not even a Brahman. He's a Kshatriya. And he has so many responsibilities of the entire kingdom. Yet he is worshipping the 108 Shaligram Shila and advancing his whole kingdom in spiritual elevation. Everybody is worshipping the Shaligram Shila with him. He's engaging so many souls. Please go to him. So Narad Muni went to this king in South India. The king, when he heard that I'm being praised as the highest devotee of the Lord, he said, "Narad Muni, I am a very small king of a very small kingdom. My lifetime is very short. This is all I am able to do. But there is a king who's much bigger than me. He is the king of all the heavenly planets. He's called Lord Indra. Narad Muni said, I'm very familiar with Lord Indra. He said, go to Lord Indra. You think I'm engaging these citizens of my kingdom in the worship of Shaligram Shilas? See, the king Indra is engaging crores of demigods in worship with him, right? And all the followers of demigods are also being engaged in the worship of so many 1,008 Shaligram Shilas that they worship. Please go there. Lord Indra is a very, very busy man, yet he does all this with so many demigods together. So Narad Muni went to Lord Indra. Lord Indra said, Narad Muni, you are praising me as the greatest devotee of the Lord. Have you not read Bhagavatam? Narad Muni said, of course I have read Bhagavatam. I am the source of Bhagavatam. I am the reason why Vedvyas wrote Bhagavatam. He said, then don't you know all the offenses I have committed against the Lord? Do I have to start reciting each canto? You remember 6th canto? You remember 10th canto? You remember the great Vishnu Aprad, Krishna Aprad that I did by tormenting the Vrindavan Vasis and showering them with horrible rains and whatnot for 7 days, so that the whole Vrindavan was about to drown. Do you not remember that great Aprad? And then do I need to start counting all the offenses and my envious tendencies? Narayana said, no, you don't, please spare me, but tell me then, who is the highest devotee than you? All the people in the material world believe, the great king believes that you are the best devotee. You are the Ishwar of all the suras, the demigod, Suresh. So you are not the great devotee, then who is? So he said, by my understanding, Lord Indra said, Lord Brahma, who has done such amazing, wonderful job for Krishna. I mean, he did tapa. He's the first person who originated from the Lord, right? From Garbhodaksha Vishnu, the first being. And he was given this great task of creating the whole material world. He's the secondary creator. Under the direction of Lord, he made this whole material world. He's so much more busy than me, right? By his influence, Jagannathji appeared in the material world. Definitely, by far, he has done the best service to the Lord ever. Go to Lord Brahma. So Narad Muni went to Lord Brahma. Everybody's following the story so far? Right? From Brahman to the king in the south, then to Lord Indra, now to Lord Brahma. So Narad Muni, the celestial transcendental traveler, is going from one person to another according to their guidance. So he goes to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma said, I did this service because it was given to me by the Lord directly, right? But there are some devotees who, and plus I commit offenses. Remember Brahma Bimohan Leela, 10th canto, Bhagavatam, how I got bewildered by the small Gopa Roop of Krishna. And I don't even have entrance into Krishna's Ras Leelas. I wish I could become a mountain in Vrindavan and watch those Ras Leelas. I cannot even do that. Krishna has not given me entrance. So what are you talking about? Go to somebody who has done amazing services to the Lord, even though they were very displeasing, very unpleasant services to perform. Even then they did those. He said, who do you have in mind, Brahmaji? So Narad Muni, he was directed to Lord Shiva. He said, go to Lord Shiva. You remember how Lord Shiva held poison in his throat, right? The halahal wish, how he held in his throat. Go to Lord Shiva. How he came as Adi Shankaracharya, even though he had to spread the message of Mayavad in this world, which was completely distasteful to him, but according to the direction of Lord, he did it. Go to Shiva. There is Vaishnava Nam Yatha Shambhu. There is no other greater devotee than Shiva. Go to Shiva. So Narad Muni continues his journey to Shivji. Shiva, he said, oh my brother, please, I'm paying my humble obeisances to you. You are the greatest devotee of the Lord. Brahmaji has declared it. Everybody is declaring it. So Narad Muni said, Shivji said, Narad Muni, get up. What are you talking about? You think I am the greatest devotee of the Lord? I held poison in my throat. Yes, no doubt, right? That is why I'm Nilkant. But there is somebody who not only drank poison for the Lord, he was pushed down from the mountains, and he was just chanting the names of the Lord. He was trampled by elephants and just chanting the names of the Lord. He was put into a pit of snakes and just chanting the names of the Lord. He had complete surrender to the Lord. And that person was not powerful like me. He was not a great yogi or a mystic yogi like me. I am so powerful. I have so many powers. I could do that. I could hold the poison in my throat. This person was a little kid, none other than your great disciple. O Narad Muni, go to Prahlad Maharaj. Go to the Prahlad, little Prahlad, who was pushed down from the mountains and who was made to sit in the fire on the lap of Holika, who escaped fire and poison and elephants and snakes and being pushed into the ocean and from the mountains. He escaped everything because he had complete surrender unto the names of the Lord. Right? Go to Prahlad. So Narad Muni continued his journey to Prahlad Maharaj. Still everybody following, or do I need to rewind, go back? Has anybody heard this story before from Brihad Bhagavatamrita? Okay. So let's keep going. So then Narad Muni went to Prahlad Maharaj. And then what happens? Prahlad Maharaj says, yes, I did all those things. But think about it, Narad Muni. I was just a small child, I did not give any service to the Lord. All I was doing was I was chanting the names of the Lord because that's what you taught me. You, my guru, you taught me to chant the names of the Lord. I was chanting it. I had complete belief in you. So I was chanting the names that Lord will save me. But I never did any service to the Lord. Where is the service in this, right? You say, Prabhupada said, bhakti is equal to not devotion. Bhakti is not devotion. Bhakti is devotional service. Unless we serve the other person, if there is no love. I can say however much I want that I love my daughter. But unless I serve her, unless I do something for her, where is the love, right? Unless I serve my parents, what is the point of love? So just by saying I love you does not mean love. I have to serve. I have to do things for them, right? That service is love. So where did I do service, Narad Muni? So Narad Muni said, okay, then who do you have in mind? So Prahlad Maharaj said, go to Hanuman. Lord Hanuman, he did utmost all the services that Lord Ram required of him. Go to Hanuman. He lifted mountains for him. I was being burned. I was just chanting Lord's name. I was completely surrendered, saving my own life by chanting my name. But when he was being burnt, when his tail was being burnt, what did he do? He set the Lanka on fire. He even saw service in being burnt. उसमें भी उन्होंने काम ढूंढ लिया, and he burnt the entire Lanka with that when he was set on fire. So he found service in everything, right? He found Mother Sita, he narrated the whole Ramayana to Mother Sita, everything he did. That Hanuman is the greatest devotee of the Lord. Go to him. So Narad Muni went to Lord Hanuman. And he met Hanumanji and he said, you are the greatest servant of the Lord. And greatest servant means greatest devotee of the Lord. Hanumanji said, you're right. I have done some services to the Lord that he required of me. I used my intelligence, everything. But tell me, when did Lord ever spend any time with me? Right? Because love, okay, means service, but love also means spending time with the other person, right? You should exchange some relationships. You should sit affectionately with them, talk with them, eat with them, lie down with them, right? Embrace them, do so many things. When did Lord Ram ever do that with me? He went back to his Param Dham, Saket Dham, with all the Vanars that were in the Leela, everybody went back with him. But I was left here, and I am supposed to carry on everything as usual, keep doing services. I'm not exchanging any relationships with the Lord. So where is the relationship? According to my belief, I think the people who exchange the best relationships with the Lord are the best devotees. So Narad Muni said, okay, who do you have in mind? Anybody wants to guess? Who is Lord Hanuman referring to? Let's take some guesses. Yes, Vinita.
The gopis.
Yes, okay. But let's not go to a very high platform yet. How about anybody else? Navya knows. Who else wants to take a shot? And I gave you a hint. Somebody he was eating with, chatting with. Yes, gopis, gopas all also count. But we are looking for next level. So as you can see, the trend of the story is that we are going from one level to the next, right? So gopis,
Okay, Sudama.
Hello.
Sudama.
Hi, Dr. Meena. How are you?
Hey, Dr. Meena, how are you?
So okay, Sudama, yes. Okay, let's see what Navya has to say.
The Pandavas.
Yeah, so Hanumanji said, go to Pandavas, right? Lord was touching the feet of Yudhishthir and Bhim because they were older than him. He was embracing Arjun and he was giving Ashirvad to Nakul and Sahadev, right? Based on the age. And then he would sit with them, they'll make fun of him, he'll make fun of them, they will chat about different things, they'll eat together, they'll do things together. So many things they did together, right? Even in Bhagavad Gita, Arjun says that I did all those things with you not knowing that you are the Lord. So Pandavas, according to me, are the highest, best devotees because Lord exchanged so many pastimes with them. So they went to Pandavas. Narad Muni asked Yudhishthira Maharaj, you five brothers, are the best devotees of the Lord, as per Lord Hanuman, right, who has rendered such amazing service. So Pandavas said, Yudhishthira Maharaj said, we always asked for Lord when we were in very tricky situation. Every time we were in difficulty, Lord came and saved us. That is completely against what is taught, right? Yes, you seek shelter of the Lord, but to every time you get in trouble, you just keep asking for Lord to help you. That is not the best thing to do, right? So that is not the highest platform. And we did not really render any service to the Lord either. Yes, he exchanged some relationships with us, but according to us, the people who not only exchanged relationships, who rendered him service, but who also, were completely surrendered and unalloyed devotees to him. For example, he said, go to Dwarka, go to the Yadavas, go to the queens of the queens of Dwarka, the citizens of Dwarka. They are the great devotees of the Lord. They never asked Lord for anything. Lord didn't have to keep saving them from miseries, right? Please go to them. So when they went there, their representative, met them there, the queens and the citizens, and the biggest devotee there, Sri Uddhavji, right? So Sri Uddhavji said, it is true that Lord exchanged so many pastimes with us, we served him, yes, but I got to visit Vrindavan once, right? Sri Uddhavji went to Vrindavan upon the instruction of Krishna, and he saw the now we come to gopis. He saw the devotion of gopis. He saw how they were crying, how they were in vipralam bhav, how they were in separation from Krishna, right? That our devotion is nothing compared to the devotion of the gopis. So please go to Vrindavan, the residents of Vrindavan, the Vrajvasis, and among them go to gopis. They are the highest devotees of the Lord. So Narad Muni visited Vrindavan. He said, okay, Vraj I should have known, I should have started here. So now, as per Vinita's calculation, we come to Vrindavan, where all the gopis were residing, and Gopas were there, Yashoda Maya were there, and Yashoda Maya directed them to the Gopas, Gopas directed them to gopis, and then Gopi said, it is true that we are all, devotees of the Lord, but when Ras Leela happens and Krishna disappears, then there is one other gopi that disappears with him, and that devotee is none other than our beloved, the Naika, the queen of Vrindavan, the Vrindavaneshwari, and that is Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani ki jai. So Narad Muni got his answer that there is only one, the highest, the best devotee who we need to be following in the footstep of is Srimati Radharani, who serves Krishna, in all different forms. I'll come to this verse later, but this verse, okay. We can take this verse right now. This verse describes the mood of Radharani, since we're talking about Radha Bhav. So the Radha Bhav or Mahabhav, is much higher than the Gopi Bhav, right? The Gopi Bhav much higher than the Bhav of that is felt by Yashoda Maya, Nand Maharaj, Devki, the Vatsalya Ras, right? Vatsalya Ras much higher than the Sakya Bhav that is felt by the Gopas or Arjun and Pandavas. and Sakya Bhav much higher than the Dasya Ras that is felt by Hanumanji, and like us, we are always in servitude, right? So that is Dasya, and Dasya Ras much higher than the Shant Ras that is felt by the yogis sitting in the forest meditating on nothingness, right? That is Shant Ras. So in this way, the escalation of the bhav of the rasas culminates in the highest bhav, the Mahabhav of Srimati Radharani. So that is the devotion of Radharani. And this verse that is on your screen has a backstory. I'll come to the verse, but let's talk about the backstory. So once upon a time, Krishna always was always running late, right? That's why we get this tendency to run late wherever we're going. And Indians are especially known to be late at different things, right? So Krishna was late for his meeting with Srimati Radharani. And who is the best friend of Srimati Radharani? Who is the very close, intimate friend of Srimati Radharani who takes care of her? Yes, Vedil.
Is it Lalita Sakhi?
Yes, Lalita Sakhi, right? And what is the mood of Lalita Sakhi? Who knows? Yes, Navya.
To protect Radharani from Krishna.
So yeah, she's always, so she's very smart. She's a little bit sarcastic also, right? She's not very submissive. She'll chastise Krishna for anything wrong. She will and tease him sarcastically, right? Like that is her mood. So she likes to punish him, right? She's very protective towards Radharani. So she's always protecting Radharani from Krishna, like that. So Lalita Sakhi saw that Krishna is running late and Radharani is just chanting on his names, right? She's just chanting Krishna Keshav, Krishna Keshav, Krishna Keshav Pahi Mam, Ram Raghav, Ram Raghav, Ram Raghav Rakshamam. So she's just chanting his names, right? Like that she's chanting. So when she was chanting, Lalita Sakhi chastised Radharani. She said, stop meditating on that rascal's name, right? He's always running late. Stop chanting his name. So Radharani said, Lalita, I cannot stop chanting Krishna's names. Why? And this is the verse she recited. Let's read the meaning first, then we'll recite the verse. I do not know how much nectar the two syllables Krishna have produced. When this verse is recited by Radharani in Golok Vrindavan, okay? When the holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within the mouth. We then desire many mouths. When that name enters the holes of our ears, we desire many millions of ears. And when the holy name dances in the courtyard of heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore all the senses become inert. This is mood of Radharani, that I'm chanting constantly these two syllables, Krishna, right? And it dances within my mouth, and I wished I had many mouths. And when I hear the name, I wish I had many ears, millions of ears. And from my mouth and ears, that name enters, it conquers my mind and it conquers my heart. It conquers all my senses and makes my senses inert, right? This is the mood of Radharani. This is the Radha Bhav. So what does she say? She says, Tunde Tandavi Niratim Vitanute Tundavali Labdhaye Karna Kroda Kadambini Ghatayate Karnarbudebhya Spriham Cheta Prangana Sangini Vijayate Sarvendriyanam Kriti No Jane Janita Ki Addev Amritaye Krishniti Varnadari. So in this way, Radharani is chanting the names of Krishna. So this verse was now recited by Radharani, like I told you, in Golok Vrindavan. And how do we know this verse? Because who heard this verse? Rup Manjari. Rup Manjari, who came as Rup Goswami, recited this verse again in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna in the mood of Radharani, heard this verse, he went into complete ecstasy. That this is the verse Radharani recited. And Krishna came and he saw Radharani was reciting my names, and he was completely He's completely floored by that kind of devotion. He was completely mesmerized, overwhelmed by that devotion. And he wanted to know what what is Radharani experiencing when she tastes my name? What is she feeling, right? What is the mood of the gopis? What is the bhav of the gopis? Why do they chant my names? Why do they wait for me? Why do they do shringar for me, right? Why do they cook for me? Radharani cooks every day. Do you know that Radharani is the personal cook of Krishna who cooks every day and never repeats a single dish? Till now, she has never repeated a single dish, right? So that Radharani, that gopis, what is their bhav? I want to understand that, right? How is she so premay towards me? How is she full of so much love to me? One time, there was are you any of you familiar with Kabir? Kabir ke doha hote hain, right? Who's familiar here with Kabir, right? Kabir saying, right? So you know that Kabir was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. Everybody knows that. Who knows that Kabir was a great devotee, right? Kabir. There are many Muslim devotees who have been very advanced devotees of Krishna. Kabir is one. Ras Khan is another one. I'll tell you the two shlokas, very famous sayings by both of them. Okay, about the mood of gopis. So some people started praying to Kabir. Okay, because this is a tendency. Sometimes we think that the advanced devotees, instead of taking them as servant of the Lord, we take them as the Lord themselves, right? So they were saying, oh Kabir, you are the Param Brahm, you are the Paramatma, you're none other than Krishna himself. So Kabir said, what are you talking about? A true devotee of the Lord will chastise something, right? So he said, this is what Kabir said. He said, Kabira Kabira kya kahe ja Jamuna ke तीर एक गोपी के प्रेम में बही गए कोटि कबीर. कबीरा कबीरा क्या कहे जा जमुना के तीर एक गोपी के प्रेम में बही गए कोटि कबीर. That what are you saying, Kabira Kabira? Have you lost your mind? Kabira is not even the dust of under the toenail of Radharani or any gopi of Vrindavan. You go to the banks of Yamuna. Ik gopi ke prem mein, there are millions of gopis, and even one gopi, if one gopi has a few drops of Radharani's prem, even one gopi's prem, bahi gaye koti kabir. Koti means millions of kabir have been can be sacrificed for the love of one gopi. So that is the love of one gopi, and among them the Shiromani is Radharani. So imagine the love that Radharani possesses for Krishna, right? And then I'll tell you the saying that Ras Khan said. Now Ras Khan is not talking about, Ras Khan is talking about how gopis control Krishna. Okay, listen to this verse, is very beautiful. I don't have it on the screen, I wish I did, but I'll just share. Is everybody listening still? Because I really want everybody to listen to this verse. So this is how this verse goes. Remember, this is Ras Khan, who is a Muslim devotee, very advanced soul, pure devotee of the Lord. What did he say? Shesh Ganesh Mahesh Dinesh Suresh hu jahi nirantar gave, jahi anadi anant akhand ached abhed suved batave, narad se shuk vyas kahe pachihare tu punipar na pave, tahi ahir ki chohriya छछिया भर छाछ पे नाच नचावे. What does that mean? Some of you who understand Hindi might have understood, but I'll break it down. Shesh is Sheshnag. Ganesh is Ganesh ji. Mahesh is Shiv ji. Dinesh is Suryadev, right? Suresh is Indra. So Shesh, Ganesh, Mahesh, Dinesh, Suresh. Jahi Nirantar Gave. Okay? Whose glory is they are constantly singing. Jahi Anadi Anant Akhand Ached Aved Suved Batave, which our Vedas glorify as Anadi and Anant, right? No beginning and no end. Akhand, indestructible. Ached, right? You cannot break it, you cannot destroy. Abhed, right? That Anadi Ached Anant Akhand Abhed is our Brahman, right? Is Par Brahm Parmeshwar. Suved Batave. Our Vedas call him all these names. Narad se Shuk Vyas rahe. From Narad Muni to Shukdev Goswami, everybody glorify this person. But who is this person? That person, Tahi Ahir ki Chohriyan, The Vraj gopis, the cowherd girls of Vrindavan, chachiya bhar chach pe nach nachave. For a chachiya bhar means for a like chullu bhar, like for a palm full of buttermilk, they make him dance to their tunes. That person whose glories are sung by all the demigods, that person whose glories are sung by our Vedas, that person whose glories are sung by all the pure devotees from Narad Muni to Shukdev Goswami, that person dances to the tunes of the ordinary cowherd girls of Vrindavan for a small spoonfuls of buttermilk. So what do they say? लल्ला बटरमिल्क चाहिए, हाँ छाछ चाहिए, लस्सी चाहिए, तो नाच के दिखाओ ना जरा. So they, so this Par Brahm Parmeshwar, this Sarveshwar Ishwar, this Maheshwar, this Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Ham Bhajami, this Krishna dances to the tunes of these ordinary cowherd girls. So that's how they control him. And among them, the highest person that controls him is Radharani. So that Radharani's appearance day is today. So that is the glories of Radharani. On I think we have covered very little today, but I just this is the Radha Bhav, the very high Radha Bhav. Radharani sees Krishna everywhere. See, this is a tamal tree. You know that in Vrindavan there are many tamal trees. She sees anything black, she thinks it's Krishna. She sees Krishna in tamal tree. This pastime, this is a very famous picture, painting you must have all seen. See the bee there, right? There is a pastime of Radharani where you know that Krishna's name is Madhu, right? So when she sees the black bumblebee, the Madhu, which was trying to disturb her, and Madhu Mangal came and removed the bee, right? He brushed it away, and he started saying, "Oh Radharani, Madhu went away, Madhu went away." So Radharani started crying in separation, even though Krishna was sitting next to her. Madhu went away, and she started crying because according to her, Madhu went away means Krishna went away, Madhav went away. So, but she sees a black bumblebee and sees Krishna in it. She sees a black cloud, freshly formed monsoon cloud. She sees Krishna in it. And then when the Raslila happens, when all the gopis are dancing and Krishna goes away with that one gopi, that is that one gopi is Radharani, right? This is the mood of separation and mood of meeting, the Vipranam Bhav and the Shringar Bhav of Radharani. These two verses, these are the end of the Gopi Geet. So in our famous 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is the separation song of gopis. When Krishna was doing Ras Leela and he hid himself for a few minutes. So the gopis starting crying. And what did they say? They sang a whole song looking for Krishna. That song is called Gopi Geet. Very, very famous. It is memorized by devotees and sung. Some people sing it every day. And this is the end verses of that song. When finally what happens? So Shukdev Goswami said, gopis have stopped singing, and Shukdev said, Iti gopya pragayantya pralapantyascha chitradha rurudu suswaram rajan Krishna darshan lalasa. That, O Rajan, O King Parikshit, having thus sung this song, right? The gopis begin to weep loudly. Rurudhu suswaram rajan. In very, very loud voices, they start to cry. Why? For what? Krishna darshana lalasa. They were very eager to see Lord Krishna, And then Krishna appears. How does he appear? Lord Krishna, a smile on his lotus face, appeared before the gopis. Wearing a garland, yellow garment, he directly appeared as one who can bewilder the minds of Cupid, who himself bewilders the minds of ordinary people. Tasam avirabhuchori smayamana mukhambuja pitambradhara shragvi sakshan manmatha. So when they were crying so loudly, Krishna responded to their calls and immediately appeared in front of the gopis, smiling from ear to ear. And that Krishna who bewilders the mind of Cupid. Cupid is called Madan, right? He bewilders the mind of Cupid. That is why Krishna's name is Madan Mohan, right? And the one who bewilders the mind of this Madan Mohan Mohini is Radharani. We are all bewildered by the Cupid, right? We are all bewildered by the lust in this world, the Madan. But Krishna is not bewildered by him. That is why Krishna is Madan Mohan. But he is bewildered by the Madan Mohan Mohini, the Radharani. So he bewilders the mind of the greatest yogi, the greatest devotees, the greatest paramhamsas. He's elusive to everybody. He hides himself, right? Until you're crying loudly and have Krishna darshan lalasa. You should have great hunger, great thirst to see Krishna and feel his presence in your lives. Only then Krishna will reveal himself, like in this pastime with gopis. But you can see him, you can feel his presence with the help of Radharani, right? And this is the verse that I told you, the only verse where Shukdev Goswami very indirectly mentioned Radharani's name. Okay, and you can read, you can take down this verse and read a few verses before this and a few after this. I would recommend not to read too much of 10th canto. Just read a few verses before and after. What does this verse says? So look how Shukdev Goswami, remember Shukdev Goswami is the parrot of Radharani, right? So what is he saying? This particular gopi has perfectly worshipped the all-powerful personality of Godhead Govinda, since he was so pleased with her that he abandoned the rest of us and brought her to a secluded place. So what is he saying? Anyaradhito nunam Bhagwan Hari Ishvara Yanno Vihaya Govinda Prito Yam Anyadraha. So he left everybody. He abandoned the rest. The gopis are saying he abandoned the rest of us, but there was one particular gopi who has perfectly worshipped him. Who is that worship? Who is that worshipper? That is Radharani. Anyaradhito nunam. So very indirectly he mentioned the name of Radha. Aradhana word comes from Radha only, right? Aradhana, the one who's the perfect worshipper is Radharani. That is Aradhana, right? And when we do aparadh, when we say aparadh, right, what are we doing? We are going against Radharani. That is aparadh. That is an offense, right? So going against Radharani is aparadh and going towards her is aradhana, right? So he very slyly, very sneakily, he put the name of Radharani this one time in whole entire 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is that beautiful verse. So we could only cover two topics today. I could not do more. There were more things talking about Radha Raman and then Radha Dasyam and then Radha's pastimes. But I don't think we have time. So let's hear from everybody. Let's see what realizations we have. I'll stop here. Thank you. Please, who would like to share? I think everybody has to share something. Who wants to start? We can start with, I have to start calling out names then.
Krishna,
Yes.
I'll start happily in a bit. So yeah, thank you for the wonderful discussion and the story and discussion about Srimati Radharani. It's lucky that on Radhashtami, this wonderful occasion, we are able to hear about Srimati Radharani and get blessings from her in the association of devotees. So again, just wanted to thank Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Yes, who else wants to share? So what is the plan? How would we try to please Radharani? What are we going to do? You know, if it's somebody's appearance day or birthday, we try to please them, right? Yes, Himam or Anita Mataji sharing, yes.
Yes, Mataji, I think the one point I heard in the lecture is about like Radharani, how she is present in our lives. So it is via the gurus, like, she comes in the form of the gurus. So whoever gurus we have, like bona fide spiritual master, uh, they are all the form of the Radharani.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing. Murli Prabhu, would you like to share anything?
Yeah, Mataji. So today is a completely different version of Radharani, I hear. So it's taking some time for for us to absorb what we heard before and that today's version. It's like, I know that Radharani is a Lakshmi's avatar, as Krishna is a Vishnu's avatar, but today is a complete. spin-off. But it's very nice to share. Thank you very much for all this information.
Very bold. Yes, Prabhuji, I think we have established after so many classes that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead from which Vishnu comes. Remember, so we talk about all the three Purush Avtaras. They're Purush Avtaras. The Mahavishnu comes from Krishna after many, many expansions actually. So the Purush Avtaras actually exist only in the material world. They don't even exist in the spiritual world. So Vishnuji's place is here, and they are the from Mahavishnu comes Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and then comes Shirodakshaya Vishnu. So and Narayan is actually accompanied is in the spiritual sky, accompanied by, served by millions of Lakshmijis in millions of Vaikuntha planets. So from Krishna, the Narayans are expanding. There is Chaturvyu that expands. Chaturvyu. From Chaturvyu, Sankarshan expands millions of Narayanas, and from Narayanas expand a second Chaturvyu. Those Narayanas are being served by Lakshmiji. So just like Narayana and Vishnu and so many other, everything is expansion from Krishna, right? Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. So Krishna is not a expansion from Vishnu. Vishnu is an expansion from Krishna. Similarly, Radharani being the eternal consort, the eternal internal potency of the Lord, expands as millions of Lakshmijis who are eternally serving in the highest, Pad Sevnam mood for Narayan, and they're serving in Aishwarya Bhav. So Lakshmi ji being in her Aishwarya Bhav, that is why she does not get entry into the Ras Leela, because that is why she is still doing Tapasya and Belvan, because her Aishwarya Bhav is very different from Madhurya Bhav of gopis. It cannot be, there cannot be a cross connection. So, and Lakshmi ji will not worship Krishna or Narayan in the Madhurya Bhav. So since she's so full of Aishwarya Bhav, until she gives that up, she's doing that tapasya. So from Radharani expands all the goddesses, and including goddess of fortune. So that is the correct understanding is given, and we have to go deep into our study of scriptures. But thank you for sharing that. Who else wants to share? Whether you want to share something?
Oh, I like the point when you mentioned how Lalita Sakhi is always protecting Radharani, and she's like, if it's like she won't let Krishna like hurt her in any way, and she's like, because I feel like that's a friend that everybody wants, like Lalita Sakhi, a friend like that, who always looks out for them and takes care of them. I thought that was nice.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. Yes, all the Sakhis also have different moods. So Lalita Sakhi is very different from Vishakha Sakhi and all the other Ashta Sakhis. And then there are Manjaris, right? So Radharani is served by the Sakhis and then Manjaris and then millions of gopis. So we are in the line when we are following Prabhupada and our disciplic succession. We are not approaching Radharani directly, we are not approaching even Sakhis, we are approaching the Manjaris. Right, so this is the Manjari Bhav. So all our acharyas are in the Manjari Bhav. So again, the same mood as the servant of the servant of the servant. So yes, so Radharani, everybody, hopefully we will all take shelter of her. She's the supreme source of all the energies, both material, spiritual, all the spiritual potency that we have, all the activities that we are able to carry out, all the bliss that we are able to feel. And this, she's always trying to give pleasure to Krishna. So if we take shelter of her by trying to please her, you just ask for her mercy. She's like the mother. So if you ask for her mercy, we can also get some mercy from Krishna. But her mercy is enough. If she's pleased, Krishna is automatically pleased. So I think we will end there. maybe another time, some other time later this week or so, we'll talk. If you have time in the evening, we can join to hear rest of the presentation about the what does it mean by Radha Raman, what does it mean by the Radha Dasyam, and what does it mean by in our Guru Shishya Parampara, how Radha Dasyam and Radha Bhav has been established by our starting from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Srila Prabhupada. So we can hear about that later. I'll put it on the group to see what time permits everybody. Okay, thank you everybody for joining. Hare Krishna. We'll chant one round together. Vancha kaltarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patita nam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah gurve gaurachandraya radhikaya tadalaye krishnaya krishna bhaktaya tad bhaktaya namo namah. Hare Krishna.